Meanwhile, 3 friends of the Boston bombers, I don't know if you heard this yesterday, busted for trying to cover up their crime. Now we're finding out more this morning, including disturbing texts between them and what it's revealed. Peter Ducey live in Boston with more. Hey, Peter.
Hey, Brian, and we now know that when some of Dzhokhar Tsarnaev's alleged accomplices recognized him on the news in that FBI surveillance video that was taken here on Boylston Street just minutes before the marathon bombing, they didn't call police. Instead, they texted their fugitive friend, and here is how the FBI summarizes one of the conversations. In the criminal complaint, it says, suspect Diaz Kaderbayev then texted Tsarnaev and told him that he looked like the suspect on television. Tsarnaev's return texts contained LOL and other things Kaderbayev interpreted as jokes, such as, you better not text me, and come to my room and take whatever you want. There was another text from Tsarnaev to Kaderbayev that said, I'm about to leave. If you need something in my room, take it. And that text led another alleged accomplice, Azamat Tajiakov, to think he would never see his friend Dzhokhar alive again. So, along with American citizen Robel Filopos, they decided to take that backpack from Dzhokhar's room full of fireworks that had been emptied of their powder as well as a laptop and throw them away. Dzhokhar allegedly said a month before Marathon Monday that he knew how to make a bomb, and these 3 did the math and decided to help him stay out of trouble. We've also now learned that alleged accomplice Azamat Tajiakov was allowed to re-enter the U.S. on January 20th this year, even though his student visa was invalidated when he left school on January 4th. The Department of Homeland Security is now telling us that customs officials never got the word from the school that he was no longer a student, even though they had reported it. We're expecting to see the 2 Kazakh men in court on May 14th. The American citizen is going to be in court here in Boston on Monday. Back to you.
All right, Peter, thank you very much. By the way, all their attorneys showed up out front and spoke to the press yesterday, and they all insist, yeah, our clients are all absolutely innocent. Just friends with them. They would do it. Yeah. Covered up for a friend. Right, exactly. One of them lied to the feds. That is repeatedly. That is against the law, and that's the American citizen. And the other 2 reportedly tried to destroy vital evidence. So, you know, they can play it the way they want to. But had they seen the kid on television, hey, that's our friend, they should have contacted him, and since they did, then call the cops.
Of course, that's what they should have done. People were dead. This was a terrorist bombing, and rather than go, hey, can we help you with anything, and go hide your laptop and hide your backpack.
But they have not recovered the laptop, as far as I know. And I think they have. By the way, you have heard they had? Catherine Herridge last night said that apparently they were before the bombers took off, they did not wipe their laptops. I think they were. I thought they were still looking in the yard for that. But essentially, why would you toss a brand new laptop? Why would you get rid of it if it was, hey, just go grab my stuff? I just wanted to help them out, so they end up putting it in their apartment and then getting rid of it. After a week of searching, they come up with it. This is what's maddening. Before we get into details about the license plate and everything else, do you know the person with all the answers to this entire mystery sits in a prison hospital? The 19-year-old? He knows what the other ones were doing. He knows why he was doing it. He knows where they trained. He knows where the links are overseas. He knows what the 26-year-old who's now dead had to do with it, who trained him to make the bombs. And we do not question him because he is lawyered up. We did question him for 16 hours, and then he was stopped. Then he was Mirandized.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Department of Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano came out, and she was quick to say that this was not part of any broader plot. Well, that's interesting, since it seems as though investigators are still trying to connect the dots. Where did the money come from? Where did the training to build the bombs come from? It seems like that was a premature assessment on her part, and it reminded some of the premature assessment after what happened in Benghazi. Here's Senator Lindsey Graham on this.
She has no idea. It sounds like Susan Rice all over again. Right after Benghazi, there's no evidence of an al-Qaeda connection here. This is a spontaneous riot caused by hateful video. Did you see the 3 guys that the FBI released photos of in Benghazi 8 months later? Do they look like protesters to you?
That's a good point. What's she talking about? Extraordinarily, yesterday, the FBI finally posted images of people of interest that they wanted for questioning regarding the attack. Keep in mind, these are images they had the day of the attack. And do those look like guys who were going to just a protest over a movie? Absolutely not. In some of the images that have been released, it looks like they're carrying guns.
That one has something in his hand.
Exactly right. So anyway, finally, after, and I'm sure it's just coincidence, but in the same week that Fox News Channel broadcast an exclusive interview with a special operator who was in Benghazi that day and saw with his own two eyes what happened, and also says, look, the federal government knows exactly who did it, the mastermind, and he's walking free. Suddenly, they released this. Jay Carney was quizzed about Benghazi to his dismay yesterday, and then, extraordinarily, listen very carefully to what he says at the beginning about Benghazi.
Benghazi happened a long time ago. We're not aware of any agency that has blocked an employee who would like to appear before Congress. And as you noted, both the State Department and Department of Defense have made clear that they are not aware of any request for a security clearance for a private attorney having been made in connection with the Benghazi investigation. So what you have is an attorney saying she represents somebody, claiming that she's not getting this security clearance, and yet the agencies involved have no information about that at all. So, you know, which falls into the broader story here, which these allegations are part of an unfortunate pattern of spreading misinformation.
Well, let's stop some misinformation right there.
Yeah, well, he's now asking, if they're talking about misinformation, after 8 months, the FBI now releasing photos. I don't know, did they just come in from the Kodak store?
No, they've had those. I don't know why they're just releasing them.
So now they're asking Libyans and people around the world to help them out, if you know these three. What about the guy they actually had locked up, the Senator Lindsey Graham made a phone call to get the FBI access to? Did he help at all?
I just got an email from Victoria Tenzing, who he is referring to, and she finds it extraordinary that he's talking about, well, you know, I don't know what she's talking about. Daryl Issa sent the administration, the Department of State, 2 different letters over a week or so asking for the attorneys to be given the tools so that they can represent these whistleblowers. And after she was on our air yesterday, apparently the correct person then wound up emailing them, and now they have submitted the information so they get the clearance so they can represent the whistleblower or whistleblower.
So she did not did not do the paperwork right the first time? Did she not make the request?
No, they were doing everything right. It was not until they showed up on television talking about, hey, the administration isn't doing anything, that apparently the administration was shamed into doing the right thing.
Okay,
and
so now the
attorneys
have submitted, we're sure, the letters for the security clearance so the whistleblowers could come forward starting now. We'll start the clock now. And they could come forward and tell the story that they say they have been prevented thus far from talking.
They have submitted the request for clearance, and so that's all they can do at this point.
Okay.
Now it's in the Department of State and the administration's court.
Maybe we'll get some answers.
Hope so.
And maybe by releasing those photos now, the FBI might get some leads on where these guys are, but as we all know, it's about the 48 hours after the crime that you need to act, because who knows what country that those 3 guys that they think are involved could be in now, and why we're only seeing them 7 months later.
And maybe they've gone on the straight and narrow since that time. Maybe they've turned over new leaf.
Actually, they all look like they're holding something. I thought it was just the guy on the far right. They all look like they're holding a weapon.
There is video of these guys huddled around the ambassador's body that we've all seen online. Meanwhile, straight ahead, do you carry on your